badge. 2 badge. Billion time.
Father, why do I still feel guilty?
The guilt means your work is not yet finished.
Downtown office thinks we got a new player in Hell's Kitchen.
What do they want?
The DA's office says the shooter's independent.
He's tracking gangs to their home turf and taking them out with military precision.
With knowledge and hardware to take out half the city, Hell's Kitchen is about to explode.
Bang.
Maybe we created him. All of us.
There's no connection.
We never stopped to think that Daredevil's actions could open the door for men like this.
How much longer before innocent people start getting caught in his crossfire? Blood is being shed.
And you've donated more than your fair share.
The city needs him.
I need to take care of the scum that killed my family.
People don't have to die.
You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down. Why are you doing this? Because I think you're a half measure. I think you're a man who can't finish the job. I think that you're a coward. You know, you're one bad day away from being me.
Electra.
Hello, Matthew.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So they just dropped the Daredevil Season 2 official trailer. We get our first look at Frank Castle. There's a new player in town, so let's break it down. I'd be really surprised if none of you have ever heard of the Punisher before. What they've done, because the Punisher is a relatively old character, he's a war vet whose family is brutally murdered, so it drives him to seek justice in the most extreme way possible. He kills the bad guys that he goes after, instead of Daredevil on the other side of this equation, who doesn't want to kill. That was a big thing during Season 1 when he first ran into Night Nurse and he threw the guy over the building. And he's still building. He landed in that dumpster that I was in earlier. Just like last season, there's a lot of comic book things going on, but they're not necessarily doing an exact copy of a comic book storyline. Daredevil and Punisher have a long history of working together and fighting each other in the comics, so think of Daredevil Season 2 as a couple different things. One, the rise of the Punisher, it'll be like an origin story for the Punisher, and Daredevil versus Punisher, and then also Daredevil versus Elektra, because Elektra is actually the old college girlfriend that Foggy was talking about during Season 1, which is also fairly true to the comics. But if you remember, Season 1 mimicked a lot of Man Without Fear things from that Frank Miller storyline. That's the story that introduced the Elektra character. So it's almost like they removed her from Season 1 and inserted her into Season 2, just to keep things simpler, which I'm totally fine with. They needed to spend most of Season 1 explaining why Daredevil becomes Daredevil, his main villain, the Kingpin. Now that they've done that, they can broaden the universe with people like the Punisher and Elektra. But like I said, even if the first part of the season is going to be Daredevil versus Punisher, they'll probably reach some sort of agreement. Punisher will still be crazy no matter what. He's still going to try and kill bad guys. So I'm wondering where they're going to leave the season, what common ground they'll find, because Daredevil is never going to think it's okay to kill a bad guy. Maybe he'll just kill fewer bad guys. Like, it seems like the body count is going to be super high in the first couple of episodes. There's a new player, Military Precision. That's just meant to honor his history in the Special Forces. As in, before he became the Punisher, he was already a badass at killing people. Now, I just love the way this trailer plays with that nursery rhyme. It shows you the Frank Castle origin story. We have his home here, we have a flashlight looking at this children's book, a picture of him with his daughter, then him at the park sitting at this merry-go-round. In the comics, his family was brutally murdered in a mob shootout. They might do that the same here because the Kingpin and a lot of his associates are deeply connected to the mob. But I'm interested to see how they weave out the origin story. They might flash back to his time as a Marine, and I think because they've updated the series, this is happening in modern day, he'll be an Afghanistan vet. Daredevil sees that someone's killing mobsters, so he wants to know what they're out for. But the twist is, Punisher doesn't want anything. He just wants to make bad guys pay in the most severe way possible, which is a really dangerous thing. You can bargain with someone who wants a physical thing, like I'm trying to take X object from you. You can always bargain with people like that. But when someone wants to hurt people, there's not a lot that you can give them that will sate that desire. There's no satisfaction that you can give them. Now, the first time Punisher appeared, it was in a Spider-Man story. Don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon on the Netflix series, but because of Marvel's arrangement with Sony, there might be some references to Spider-Man. I know you guys have been asking me a lot of Civil War questions for Captain America Civil War. Punisher had a lot of fun during that comic book storyline, so if you want to read a Punisher run that will also get you ready for Civil War, you can read Matt Fraction's run on Punisher War Journal. It's volume 2 and it takes place during Civil War. If you really want a deep cut, Jim Lee inked the first run of Punisher War Journal, so you can go back and read Volume 1 too. The difference between Punisher, Punisher War Journal, and Punisher Max are just varying degrees of WTF. So I would say Punisher War Journal is a really solid bet, but you also need to read Daredevil vs. Punisher. Just read that storyline. I love that he calls Daredevil a coward. You're a half measure. You're just one bad day away from being me. And doesn't it look, by the way they're holding each other in the rain here, that Karen Page finally figures out that Matt is Daredevil. You're the guy that saved me that day in the rain. I know she has that line where she's like, maybe we created him. Maybe us being so hardcore inspired other people to go even further. That's only half true, but that doesn't mean that Daredevil is responsible for what Punisher does. So it's not like the Punisher has lost his mind. He sees a course of action and is going about it in the most logical way he knows how. Gangsters are a problem, the system is broken, we knock them down, they keep getting back up, so I have to knock them down so that they don't get back up again. Elektra's a bit of a question mark. She's an assassin for hire, so I'm wondering if the gangsters that Punisher goes after hire her to take the Punisher down. Kingpin, still a big player, not to be forgotten even though he doesn't appear in this trailer. I'm wondering if he's still going to be in prison, but he'll still be calling the shots, influencing things from inside that cell. Thematically, it feeds into what Punisher is talking about. Just because Daredevil knocked Kingpin down a peg, put him in prison, doesn't mean that he hasn't gotten back up since then. Whatever the case is, I do feel like Elektra is going to be hired by one of the villains to take down either Punisher or Daredevil, maybe both of them. I don't know if they're going to wind up being friends by the end or if they'll wind up being enemies. Maybe there's this inverse relationship with Daredevil and Punisher. Daredevil and Punisher start out as enemies, probably going to be less enemies. I wouldn't say friends, but they won't be fighting each other by the end of the series. Maybe it'll be the opposite for Daredevil and Elektra, but they worked together for so long in the comics, I feel like they're not going to be enemies at the end. They'll probably just find some common ground, just like Daredevil and Punisher. It's not like everyone's going to be hugging each other at the end of the series. They'll just be like, okay, we're not going to try and shoot each other in the face the next time we see each other. But I know a lot of you guys have been asking about the Punisher series that they've greenlit. I have no idea when it's going to drop, but they are going to be making a TV series that's more focused on the Punisher. He will be part of Defenders. No, I have no idea which movie he's going to wind up in. The Defenders are supposed to show up during Infinity War, either part 1 or part 2, I don't know which one. But yes, I do believe that Punisher would come along for the ride. There's supposed to be 66 characters in Infinity War, so they're going to be bringing their A-game, and Punisher looks like he's going to be freaking awesome. You don't want him to ride the bench during Infinity War. And how awesome is it that they told us when the next trailer is coming? How many people do that? Usually studios just dump it in the morning on a random day, like a Monday or a Tuesday, like, oh hey, by the way, here's this giant trailer. So at the end of the month, the next trailer will probably reveal more about what the actual story is going to be. I'm not expecting to see Kingpin, and I'm not expecting to see the Punisher costume. That'll probably be like the Daredevil reveal in Season 1, where he starts out in the black costume, then he gets the red costume at the end. So by the end of Season 2, that's when I think that Frank Castle will be wearing the Skull t-shirt. But let me know, what's your favorite thing about this? And all the episodes are going to drop on March 18th. That'll be a Friday night. It's just like last season. It'll precede Captain America Civil War, and it's dropping the week before Batman v Superman comes out. In related news, there's been a whole bunch of Deadpool, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead stuff going on. I'm doing a Game of Thrones Q&A that I'll post next. Just in case you guys haven't seen it, I've done a whole bunch of Daredevil Season 2 videos. You can click here for that big playlist, and you can click here for the Game of Thrones trailer that I did last night. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.